I coach leaders to help them with a specific challenge that they have. My approach is a little bit different. I use metaphors to help them identify where they're currently stuck and to present a different way of leading. One leader that I worked with was a manager in a national life insurance company, and she struggled with speaking up with her opinions and her insights because she was avoiding conflict. And she valued her relationships with her colleagues in her team so much that she didn't ever want to speak up and risk compromising those. We used metaphors to identify how she was currently showing up and to give her a new way of envisioning how she could lead. In between each of our meetings, she had homework or practices, I call them, so that she could build the skills, the muscles to move from where she was to where she wanted to go. It's kind of like going to a gym. You have to go regularly and do lots of repetitions to build up those muscles. So the practices weren't a one-time grandiose gesture, but little things that she could do to develop a new habit and to gain insights. One shift that this leader made was getting comfortable with the discomfort of conflict. So when there was a disagreement, one of her practices was just to tune into her body and see where is that conflict or that discomfort showing up for her and learning to be a little bit more comfortable with it. She also completed a self-assessment to understand her own conflict style and conflict styles of people around her. And then her practice was to observe herself and others in conflict situations so she could gain insight into how she and others approached it. And finally, this leader looked at, sought out small opportunities for disagreement. Not that she was going to go around, wreaking havoc everywhere, but she, instead of avoiding it, she would look for opportunities to share a different opinion or to have a disagreement so she could practice different approaches to resolving conflict. And again, being comfortable with any kind of discomfort that she had. She learned to sit with the discomfort and to use questions and to be curious in order to maintain those relationships when there was a disagreement or a conflict. It can be hard to look in the mirror. We don't always like what we see, and metaphors give us a way, or give me a way, to work with leaders to help them see themselves and how they're currently working, and to do so in a way that's a little bit more objective and doesn't have maybe the guilt or the defensiveness that often can surface. Sometimes we have lots of self-awareness about what we're doing, but we just don't know how to do it differently. And that's where the future metaphor paints that picture to help them move towards a different way of leading. And then, of course, the practices in between are the way of moving towards that and building new skills and new patterns. I find that metaphors and the practices are a really powerful way to coach leaders, and that it helps them start to change behavior instead of just gaining that self-awareness. If this sounds like an interesting approach to you, and if the idea of metaphors piques your interest, I'd be happy to tell you a little bit more. And if you have a specific leadership challenge that you're working through, or you know somebody who does, I'd happily have a conversation with them.